video, I am going to show you how to make some subtle adjustments in Photoshop using the color balance adjustment layer. So let's start off with, let's see, maybe this picture, which I like to call a Woodstock hippie dress, which I photographed in Woodstock, New York. As you can see, it has a kind of, I think, rather lovely pinkish sort of color cast. But let's say I didn't want that. How would I get rid of it? Let's probably the way to get rid of that would not be in Camera Raw, but to go to Photoshop. So now we're opening the image in Photoshop. Takes a moment. Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to use an adjustment layer, which is non-destructive. I'm going to pick color balance. Color balance is really a beautiful tool. It works a lot like how color is balanced in the analog darkroom. You can see cyan is the opposite of red, magenta is the opposite of green, and yellow is the opposite of blue. But it allows us to do something you can't do in the analog darkroom, is to work with the midtones, shadows, and highlights separately. So let's start with the shadows. And let's see, what would I like to do here? Maybe I'm going to increase the cyan because this image is kind of red. So I'm going to increase the cyan, and suddenly it looks a lot whiter. Then I'll go to the midtones and do the same thing in the midtones. But actually what I could do is I could do this selectively and only do one rather than all. And as you can see very quickly, I have changed this image. If I want to get rid of it, I just click on the eye and I have my original image. I would probably take my time and do that more carefully, but I want to keep the video short. So that's briefly how I would work with that image. Now, let's go to this desert landscape of that I took out near Joshua Tree. And I think it doesn't need that much work, but it could benefit from a little bit of work. It's overall, it's kind of bluish. It has what one of my favorite authors, Rebecca Solnit, calls the blue of distance. In any event, I like that, but maybe I prefer a little less blue in certain areas. Also, it could use a little bit more shadow detail, so I'm going to bring up the shadows and then I'm going to open it in Photoshop. And now I'm going to use my color balance tool, but I only want to work with the shadows this time. And I think my shadows are a little blue, so I'm going to make them a little more yellow. And maybe I might even bring up the green a little bit. And I've overdone it. So again, you can see how quickly one can change the image. Notice by making the green greener, it made my magenta less magenta. So I have to figure out just exactly where I want that to be, and I might take a little bit of time for that. Maybe actually I don't want to work with that at all, and then I can just go put a 0 in here, because unlike Camera Raw, I can't just double click on these sliders and have it go back to normal. I have to remember where I started and then go back there. So on the whole, I think I've slightly improved this image. And again, take your time making these choices, and you can see what happens. For example, if I work with the highlights, I could considerably change what's going on in that sky. I have a little bit of pink in that sky that I could get rid of, or I could increase, giving it more of a sunset kind of look. But again, I don't want that. So explore your options using the color balance tool. It's completely non-destructive. The only thing it does do that isn't an issue in Camera Raw is that every time you add one of these layers, then it does increase your file size. So bear that in mind.